Yo, this is King Shaka.
Do you know what Gwaan is?
Rope in and come check out the thing now. Is what a Gwaan.
I am a big fan of Gwaan.
I live in the UK and I enjoy tuning in to Gwaan.
You get to learn a new Jamaican patois word or even a Jamaican phrase.
I'm always looking forward for the great vibes, the great things. They discuss a lot of things that are going on in Calgary, across Canada, and of course Jamaica. So I encourage.
This is what is going on in Jamaica. But check out Gwaan.
I'm in Jamaica and I watch Gwaan every Friday.
Watch Gwaan.
It happens every Friday, 7 p.m. So check them out. And bye from Toronto.
It's very interactive. You learn a lot, and great vibes, great music.
Watch Gwaan.
Relevant and entertaining. So keep up the good work.
Watch Gwaan.
Tune in, share, listen to Gwaan.
Watch Gwaan.
I look forward to the patois word of the day, feeding my nostalgic mood with flavor and spice. Only Jamaicans can deliver.
Watch Gwaan.
Big up yourself. Gwaan 2022. Bless up.
Welcome back to another week of What a Gwaan, the show that brings you information from yard and abroad. Welcome, it's another Friday. Glad to see you. And again, welcome to What a Gwaan. It's Tom Fool Day today, right? That's how we know it in Jamaica, April 1st. Or otherwise called All Fools Day. That's the correct term, right? But in Jamaica, we say Tom Fool Day. I am your host for What a Gwaan for the month of April. My name is Nicole, originally from a little town outside of Linstead called Bongo Town, or in a Jamaican, Bongo Tongue. I go say town, Bongo Tongue. So, and now I am a settler, aka settler in Calgary, Canada. Welcome. I work in a community center. It's a women's center. We work only with women. I also volunteer with the Jamaican Association here in Calgary, Alberta, and I work on the events planning committee. So all the little events and things that you'll be seeing, I work on the committee where we plan all of those events so we can spread the culture here in Calgary. Again, welcome back, Tom Fool Day. Anybody get tricked today? Drop in the comments and let me know if anybody get played today or everybody know about Tom Fool Day now. So we're always on the ball when it comes to Tom Fool Day. Again, the patois word for the day. This is my best part of the show. The patois word for the day today is zutupek. So this word is an adjective because it's describing. So load up the comments with if you ever hear the word before and what it mean. So zutupek, like you just say, look punchy over there, so you see how old zutupek. Don't ask me what it mean, but I clearly know something. I know something good, right? So the patois word of the day is zutupek. So drop some sentence in the comments and let me know how you understand what zutupek is, right? So zutupek. All right, last week we were, given some good information where we look at the sexual identity and the oppression of women. And we had Dr. Leanne Levers and Kim Levage, who went into Kimmy Levage, a good discussion looking at sexual identity and the sexual oppression of our woman. It was nice to hear the conversation, and what I like is how these people always bring it back to how culture influence certain things. And Jamaican culture, everything was special. We have to do, we just come out and for no reason at all, we just extra for everything. So I like the fact that they brought it back to the Jamaican culture, so it makes sense and can tie in to us who are from Jamaica. So the next part of the show, we're going to be looking at what's happening across Canada. And first, I want to go to Calgary. So on April 16th, we'll be having a movie night. So we'll be showing a Jamaican play, Ras Noah and the Hawk. And it's with Oliver Samuels and Glenn Titus Campbell and Delia Harris. It's going to be very funny, good time to just come together and chat and laugh. And we'll also be serving sprat and bread. Hopefully, at Easter, fish can hard for getting at Easter time. But sprat and bread will be on the menu. So if you're in Calgary, just come across to the Jamaican Association building. Showtime is 5:30. Next, we're moving across to Winnipeg, and Liberal will be launching his album on April 14th. So join him online, support the thing, jump out and just support Liberal on the launch of his album, Island Hum. May almost say Highland. Jamaican, we put H where you're not supposed to there. Next, we have Montreal. So the Jamaican Association over there in Montreal have their Easter Dutch Pot brunch. And this will be happening on April 17 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So just jump on out and go on over there if you're living in Montreal. Support the association over there, please, on April 17 for their Easter Dutch Pot brunch. Next, we're going over to the East Coast, and that is in Toronto. So join them on April 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. And this is a virtual thing, so it's on Zoom. So it's their virtual open house. They'll have fun-filled social, history telling, trivia and games. And come and go on out, meet some people and, connect so you can know what is happening over there. So Toronto, April 9, 6 to 8, their virtual open house. And today we're going to be, it's time, if you don't have no tea yet, anytime we get to this part of the show, it's called tea time. So time for you to grab a tea, some bread or crackers, whichever one you have available, because guess what? A time for we all a little reason. So it's time to reason. So we have our host, our interviewer, the original Donovan Simon, and he's going to be speaking with Damion Whyte, looking at hidden environmental treasures, Dongayard, aka Jamaica, aka The Rock. So grab your tea and come back. It's time to reason.
Nicole.
Yes.
Oh, go on. How kind of word that you throw upon the people? I'm to pick on a day when we're going to talk about the environment and
I
things.
know, right?
And things to the environment. Eh? What a day to choose that word.
I know. We should have find one environment word.
That
But
word. Well,
hey.
granted, some of the Zootopec them look like some of the things that the environment.
Maybe one bird.
Not true. There you go. Right? There you go.
So let's look at it as a bird.
And I was a tomfool day. All right. Listen, I'm going to do the reasoning. And then when we come back,
Yeah,
we talk about the tomfool day and a few other things. All right?
All right, cool. Yeah, man.
All right. Greetings. Welcome again to Time to Reason as we look at different issues that affect all of us. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the environment and some hidden treasures in Jamaica. There's a lot of celebration in April around the environment, and we wanted to dig in a little bit. And today I have a great guest in the wings. It's Damion Whyte, aka Rooster. And he comes to us from the University of the West Indies, where he's currently pursuing his PhD in zoology. But maybe more important and more relevant is the fact that he's involved in a range of different organizations, committees, etc. in Jamaica. He's a part of the scientific authorities, the chairperson for the Endangered Species Working Group of NEPA. He's a part of the Jamaican Iguana Recovery Group. He's a part of BirdLife Jamaica. He's a part of the Jamaica Institute of Environmental Professionals. He's also involved with the Caribbean Coastal Area Management Foundation, the Natural History Society of Jamaica, and the PMI Jamaica chapter, among other things. And this guy has a regular job on top of all of this. So it is a pleasure to bring Damion Whyte from Kingston. Well, we'll soon come to the Kingston part. To Gwaan as we reason. Damion, you can unmute and we could start the talk.
Bless up, Donovan. Boy, I like the word when they use Zutupe.
So,
wow, what a magical word today.
So let me ask you a question. As a zoologist and a professional in this area, is there anything called a Zutupek?
Boy, let me put it. If I go to the nice English way, no. But if I go to my Jamaican patwa, yeah. So when they go to the field here, them say, boy, them say, they want the ugly, wow, Zutupek that, you know. Or they might say, boy, I want a favor patu or that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, patu. All right.
We'll not go too far and give away the clue to what Zutupek.
All right, I hear you. Because like there's one out there. Listen, we're going to talk about the environment and we're going to talk about some hidden treasures in Jamaica. You have been all around the island, in fact, all over the place, right? Yeah. Seeing different pieces of Jamaica that in some cases the regular person doesn't see. So maybe what you can share with us a little bit are some of the hidden spots. And I know you share a few pictures with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share some of these. And maybe you can help people to understand some of these spaces.
Okay. All right. So one of the things I would always tell people, right? Jamaica, from your drive out in the rural area, there's going to be a hidden treasure or something interesting that you will find. From the little bar to you're going to farm a field, I'm sure you a little waterfall. From them go and part and tell you a sinkhole there. So I'm telling you, said down a God, last place we go, a man said, nobody no live up there and call it back a God and something. So there's always something interesting when they go to rural areas. And that is what I find out. So first, like that picture that I show you, that is in Portland, up if most of you know Rio Grande. So that's one of the biggest rivers in Jamaica, Rio Grande. And by the time you leave, and that's in Portland. So by the time you drive up from Port Antonio and going up the hill to the Rio Grande Valley, nearly every corner you pass, you see water run off of the rock, go to that big river. And most of these, what we call waterfall, have an interesting name. Some of it, I would say it's hidden in plain sight. And it's very nice, very beautiful. So one of the places that I would tell people to go to Portland. Now that's another spot. Interestingly, this is on the south coast, Jamaica. And that picture that you see now, that is one of our special islands for everybody here at about Great Goat Islands. It's a little bit about a 1 mile off from Old Harbour. It's one of the little islands that close to Jamaica. And when you're up there, you're looking, what the picture that you're looking on, you're in the dry forest, and you look down and you see the mangrove, and then you see a big body of water there. It's an inland lagoon where you see a lot of birds. And that is on the south coast of Jamaica.
That's untouched area, man.
Yeah, man. Some of it untouched.
All right. This is a little pool. Talk to me about this one, too.
All right. So let's go back to the pool now. That again is in Portland. And the interesting thing, as I tell you again, you hear me talk about the big river there, Rio Grande.
Right, Rio Grande.
No, you have all of these small streams now that lead into it. And when you go to these streams, you still have people there where go bathe,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I stopped there and bathe, and interestingly, you had some lovely ladies bathing there, and I was trying to cover my face. And they were asking me if me not used to country life, I was the one who embarrassed,
Yeah, so everybody bathe in the river, brother.
Yeah, man, everybody bathe, and it's nice, I mean, one thing though, well, you guys from Canada, they use the cold water. You don't like cold water.
The river water cold. And, man. And the soap can't wash off.
Yes. And sometimes them
so
go pick up
I know we used to what they call it now, the body wash. They can't
yeah, man, they like right. I know when they go up there now, if I buck up on a nice Rasta man, him go give a soap bush.
Yeah.
where you can rub and thing, you know.
true,
You know, some Rasta man, them not in the soap thing on them, you know, natural. And
true,
that.
true.
But as I would tell you that the hidden treasures in Jamaica, and I would start at one of my favorite places to go is Portland.
Right, yeah.
Portland is still what I would tell you
untouched.
Untouched.
Yeah. A lot of greenery. Let me ask you a question.
A lot of water, you know, and one of the things that make it nice too, you know, and I always say is the people. Because you might go to one of these things and you meet somebody for the first time and you have a big talking and them tell about say boy the janga in here, crayfish, talk about the fish, then tell about them family, you know, and it's a good conversation. And by the time they get a coconut to drink.
That's true. And Portland full of breadfruit. But let me ask you a question, Damion. Do you think Jamaicans are aware of how many of these environmental treasures we have and place value on them?
No. I can tell you that you have people in Portland not even know about some of the interesting things that they have. And I'll give you an example. We have this animal, our largest mammal in Jamaica is what we call the coney, or grazy, or the Jamaica hutia. And when you ask a typical Jamaican if them know about it, them say no, them think say endangered, it dead. But you can still find in some areas in the Blue and Drunker Mountain, and you can find in Kerner. When we ask them about the largest swallowtail butterfly in this hemisphere, the giant swallowtail, which people will come down from overseas to see that butterfly, to see in its natural environment. They don't understand treasures like that. And we go back again to some of the lovely rivers up there that I tell you. Some of them don't know the poop. But I am happy to share. But one concern sometimes I have in the environment, that sometimes when people go to these places, them go cook a big pot. And them leave all of the garbage.
Right.
And then after a while, no, you don't want to go because it's dirty.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's something like I want to tell people, we show you this treasure, but you have to treat it like a treasure.
Right.
Because the garbage now go just get up and run by itself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let me segue a little bit as we talk about that. And from a governmental perspective, you work with NEPA and a committee and a couple others.
Well, I sit on committees, not work with NEPA, but
sit on a committee, right?
Right.
So therefore, in working with these agencies, which are quasi-governmental and in some cases governmental, do we think from a policy level the government understands the value of some of these treasures and is investing accordingly?
It's a yes/no thing, you know. I mean, if let's put it this way. First time I used to hear people advertise Jamaica. You used to hear that you come for is a sun, beach. It's mostly the beach, sun and beach people come down for. And there wasn't a big push for the other side of the environment. Like you go up and you look at a stream, you go for a trail. In Jamaica, like when you go to Canada, we are not big in camping or in trail and stuff like that. But I can tell you, you have like the Blue and Drunker Mountain with Hollywell and those always have this camping thing going on for a while. Right. I can tell you from the COVID coming, where a lot of people couldn't get to travel, or a lot of people at home and start, I should say, be more in tune with nature. Yeah. They have become now a big love or a big push. No, like I want to go on a trail, I want to stay in a cabin, I want to go in a group. Yeah. Now, with all of that coming now, come over now to the policy side as you're talking to. When you hear like the minister tourism talking now, it's not only about the beach or that again, or just big hotel. Things are starting moving towards now, coming up with community tourism. I hear a lot of that now. And in community tourism, you have like the normal shopkeeper now. You have everybody involved. Do they hear? Who raise 2 chicken? Who the farmer come in and all of that. And they come together now and offer a product.
Right.
So that is coming in. But I don't feel like the thing is when you go to rural communities, they need help. Right. They need guidance. So from a policy side, I need to see the government pushing more initiative in that, in letting these groups organize their own product. And let me give an example. So you see me show you a while ago a lot of the waterfalls and stuff like that.
Right.
To bring it to a level where you would have both locals and maybe international people coming, you need some things to put in. Simple things. Work out the trail so it's safe. Work out, let the people understand how to deal with people, how to run a business. You know? They know some of this, but they need, to put in a business.
Well,
so I think from that standpoint, the government, from policy side, need to push more because they believe that starting a business is easy. Because schooling in Jamaica, they don't really teach entrepreneurship.
That's true.
You normally go and you do your CXCs, you do your level, you go. Even when you reach university,
they don't teach it.
And then you get your degree and then you throw out and then you have to run your business.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to run a business, it won't work. So from the government side, as I said, from the policy, they need to put a bigger push in that to help these communities.
Yeah.
The community.
Here's something that I hear you talk. So community tourism, because recently the Royals were in Jamaica and they took them down to Trenchtown and a number of communities to get them to relate to what's happening on the ground. When we talk about the environment, there's always this question about the balance that we get between economic activity and preservation.
Right.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because you implied that a little about the man who now start camp and go on trails, but don't understand that, listen, you can't just leave your garbage, or you can't just burn this, or you can't just chop down that. Let's talk a little about balance between some of these economic treasures and environmental treasures, right?
Right. Well, all right, let me start it. One big problem I can tell you in Jamaica that we have this mentality so we can break rule. And some people feel say good. So there's a good side to it and there's a bad side to it. But I believe sometimes there's more negative. We have an enforcement problem with most of everything. For example, you say a taxi man had a bad driving here, but when him go Canada, they're perfect. It's the same thing we have with the environment. So we, in a sense, as I put into here, and dealing with the balance that you said. So let me go to deal with the balance. So we have a community product that we start. For the environment, there is a balance. So for example, I find a nice waterfall. There is a carrying capacity for how much people can pass through that waterfall per day. There's also a balance in how much people you can put as vendor around there. There's also how much tree you can move out. And in Jamaica, when they start putting in some rules, you say this a man if I gets this a man here, and all that, this a man I take the profit. Our government are coming in and a Babylon thing and that. So go back to what you said, the balance. But in the balance that we are talking about, and there's one problem that I didn't mention to you. We have a lot of people talking about ecotourism venture.
Right.
But we don't work out the business side of the ecotourism venture.
Right.
So we might start a thing. You see that balance you're talking?
Yeah.
A lot of people sometimes want the economics and overshadow the environment.
Right.
So if the economics go bad and the place degraded, you're not going to come back at that waterfall.
But that's true.
Right. And the balance is problematic because, as I tell you before, when I go to a community and I talk to them and said, you guys need to be united. When you are united, one thing, I don't want to be the outsider who preach to you and tell you what to do. So you have to be united. And then you have to work out how much people you can carry on the trail, whatever it is, so that your generation and for them generation can enjoy it.
Right.
And I can tell you, it can work, but let me put it here. It's I don't want to say tickling, but it has its challenges.
There are some challenges.
It can work, man. And I mean, right now when you listen to the narrative, you hear we have protected area now. I know you have heard about the cockpit country, backside and all of that.
Right.
And one of the questions as an environmentalist, and sometimes I have problems with colleagues, I always say economics can, if you don't have money, you can't protect the environment.
Right.
Don't fool yourself. Because we have a lot of what we call paper park.
Right.
So we call the area protected. But then you don't have a warden, environmental warden to go and patrol the place.
Right.
You don't have money to run the park.
Right.
So if you don't have that, on the other hand, I know why you come in with something that destroy the environment, because after that, we not have no water.
Right.
Jamaicans are the land of wood and water. We're nice and we love it.
We struggle with water.
We right now, due to the dry part, we are struggling with water. You know?
Yeah, true.
One part of Jamaica, you got dry, and the next part you see water.
Yeah,
so I mean, true. so when I go to that part that I'm telling you, the balance that you mentioned a while ago, it is very challenging, but it can be done.
Yeah.
But sometimes people don't understand. And I give the example, when I start a small business, it grows slowly. The first year, you're not going to make a big money.
Yeah.
And when we go to the things that are like coming up with ecotourism venture, some people think that when you start the first year, you're going to make this big return.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to do is push, and then after all, it affects the balance of the environment.
So what I'm hearing, Damion, is that we're struggling a little bit in terms of policy and investment, right?
Yes.
But let me ask you, let me go back a little bit and saying the indigenous peoples of Jamaica, and in fact, the indigenous peoples all over the world, found a way to coexist with the environment. And in some cases, their rituals and their practices and their survival was tied closely to the environment. We've seemed to, push away from that somewhat in the quest for something else and missing out on some of these treasures, right? Why is the coexistence so hard?
Well, let me put, and I can give you, all right, so you talk about indigenous people, and we know we have a Tainos, we still have a Tainos, right?
Yeah.
We have a Tainos now, I know a couple, and we have our Maroons and stuff.
Maroons,
like yeah, we have our Maroons, and when you go up there, because the other day, I got taste the bean. I forgot the special bean the first time them cook it. I forgot what the name of that bean. I just sent you a picture of it with, boy, I can't remember that bean. Oh, all right, we'll talk about that. But going back to it, and I'll give you the example of coffee. So when you go back to the indigenous or from grandparents' country, right? When people used to plant coffee, they plant it with other crop. And I mean, nowadays you hear them use the fancy term about shade coffee. But traditionally, we normally used to grow coffee with other crops. Meaning, say coffee only come once a year. And imagine a farmer, he can't wait for a small farmer, he can't wait once a year. So he does a lot of intercropping. So when the coffee not bear, the banana bear, the mango might come in, or the cocoa might come in. But now we come up and we hear about more sophisticated, we can make more money. And we chop down all of the other trees that we use as where grandparents used to do. And we just bear coffee on the hillside. Now, initially, for the first 2 or 3 years, you make enough money. But however, when they just plant the beer coffee tree, you not have the bird them come again. So the bird them will normally eat the pests, not the your farm, so pests take you. So you have to spend money with insecticide, you have to spend money with herbicide, and then after a while you find out even you don't want to drink the coffee because a lot of chemical. But we were taught because we want to modernize. So boy, them a country used to do. Them don't know what they do.
Right.
And we lose a lot of this, And I can gear with the coffee, and I can mention to you with the roots.
Right.
In Jamaica, drink roots is strong.
Yeah, man.
But even a lot of that now, people stop following some of the traditional medicine and go on to just wear Western medicine. I'm not saying Western medicine is bad, I said there's a place. Because you have a lot of people who come here, scientists, go to those community, hear from your grandpa and grandpa, hear which bush them use, carry it to the lab, check out that chemical, find out say it has some medical use, and go and create the spill. And I give the perfect example. I have friends that will happily take the aloe vera pill and say how good it is. But when you give them the aloe vera, what we call sink the Bible, God, that are what people something. So for example, with me, I'm a young person that was growing up. Well, I'm not too young again. And they said pass. But I put a balance where I respect the elders and learn. You learn, for example, I learned when I used to grow up. When I was growing up.
Yeah.
Every summer, me there granny yard,
You get a country.
Yeah, man. Me used to afraid that the pit toilet though. I used to think dopey. Alright, so
Zoto
I could grab it from there. But I mean, I learned a lot from my grandparents in terms of
Right.
traditional medicine,
Yeah.
how to be manageable.
Right.
Because I can't walk past my neighbor and I say good morning.
And say morning, yeah.
And I also learn of how to live with nature.
Right.
And I think a lot of that is missing because a lot of the traditional stuff get passed on like that.
All right. So hear me now. Mm-hmm. Is it that we're losing that element of our culture and we're becoming so-called modernized to the detriment of the environment? Are the youngsters appreciating what the environment means to their survival?
Well, I would tell you no. I wouldn't say it. All right. I would say based on a lot of Western stuff that we are watching, a lot of people don't believe in traditional stuff. I mean, for example, you don't go get your cocoa, pick your chocolate, you cut it, dry it on the zinc, do the mortar, respect, and make a cocoa, or you don't make a banana porridge and stuff like that. No, a lot of people get into it and say, boy, we drink cereal, which come from Western country and that. And by using a lot of this, people are forgetting some of the traditional stuff, like how to make this thing. How it affect the environment now? They would in areas now they would go and get some of the resources from the environment. By getting that resources, you'd respect the environment and regard it as a treasure. By now they're not using the resource, them just see it as green bush.
Right.
And there's no respect for a certain thing. For example, growing up at the country, I would not touch a cotton tree. Because I grew up and you said, don't believe a cotton tree. And stuff like that. One way or the other, you would find a man would cut down a tree like that.
Right.
But now the generation not in tune again with the environment. So we see everything as bush, chop it down, you know. For example, I had a friend the other day, he had a property. Yeah, man, he had a property. Him say he wanted the property to look more like Miami, just bare grass. Mm-hmm. So he cut down most of the trees. A little stream where you see upon the property. After him cut down most of the trees, them disappear. Mm-hmm. And now he might buy truck water to go up on the property. Not understanding the balance and stuff like that. You know?
So what I'm hearing is, people take it for granted. So you call out some of these treasures, natural things.
Yes.
And many of the communities and the current generation, I'm going to say, they're taking these things for granted. They don't see them as treasures.
They don't. And one thing I want to push to you again, and it is something I don't know, because I'm from the rural area. And when I come to the university, like a number of us will get the opportunity. A number of the students who come there, afraid to say them come from country, It's like a dishonor to mention some of the environmental stuff that you grow up. You used to go tired to goat, you have to pick these resources, you're going at the bush to go get these roots, and you take those stuff. I mean, to some people, it's like, it's the worst life that you lived. And for example, I'm from a rural area. I would never give up my country life for nothing. I think it's the best life that I live. And I would like to pass that on to the generation. So there is this value that is being lost. On the other hand, you find now that, sad to say, we find out that it's a lot more foreigners, or even some of the people from the diaspora, who get the experience of enjoying of when they come here now. And for example, in Canada, you get cold after a while. You don't see the lovely tree, you don't hear the bird. You understand the value of what we have here. Mm-hmm. And I find out, for example, with me, is the more traveling I did, I find out, I say, boy, so Jamaica is special.
Right.
So I mean, we sit here and we undervalue what we have as an environment, and we think of it as an infinite resources. So we can throw the garbage, we can chop down the tree, we can throw poison on the river, and everything will be okay. But it won't be okay.
Right. In fact, what I'm hearing is, here comes the bigger issue of us being connected as an environment, right?
Yes.
Some time ago, there was an issue with the Sahara dust in Jamaica, right? The issue of us as humans dealing with climate change and dealing with environmental issues continues. What are you seeing in Jamaica as it relates to this particular issue and the awareness and response of people at different levels?
All right, let me put it this way. So let's go back onto that Sahara dust issue. So when we had the Sahara dust, it was even a time that we were experiencing drought. And for example, in Kingston, in some areas, you had water lock off. And then after that, now you hear people talking, what happened to the water, like it just magically disappear. For example, we in the environmental fraternity. So, for example, water that comes to Kingston, you have the Hope and Yallas River watershed. Now, you have these watersheds as well people see as bush. But the problem with you don't see it as bush. If you have farmers going up there, cutting down the trees in an area where there's not much soil. So what happens after you cut down the tree? The soil run off. And then only grass can grow there. And then what happened after a time? The trees and stuff act like a big sponge to them hold the water. So you cut down most of the trees off of the hillside, you have bare hillside. So when enough rain come, enough soil wash down, the water get too turbid where them can't collect the reservoir. So we're having problems and issue. And I can tell you, during the drought time when we had a water problem, people were inclined with the environment, coming up with solution. We need to fix the watershed. You had politicians talking, and you had everybody because people were feeling it. But then what happened? Some rainfall, and then you're still here. You know, we still start to say sometimes we have a 9-day wonder thing going on here where we forget the problems that we have. And because rainfall, we forget that we can have that issue coming back because the problem didn't solve it.
Next year, and we have the same issue over and over and over.
Right. And personally, this is my view of how I see the government overall, and I'm talking both parties.
Yeah.
Is that there isn't the environment become attractive when you hear about climate change or we might have drought. But there is, I mean, for now, for the first time, we have cockpit country boundary protected. We have stuff moving slowly. But there's now big value on this environment, you know. NEPA is there, which is there for management. It's struggling with money. Because when they talk about enforcement and stuff to do in the environment, it takes money. For example, I do a lot of stuff in the environment and I use my own resource.
Right.
Because I want to do it for my country.
Right.
But all of this takes money. But then when you put it on and you look at the big budget, somebody might say some of that money you put in for the environment could be put in a school, could be put in education, and all like that.
It's not a shortage of money, man. I mean, when we spend $4 million on a sign in Montego Bay, and then, you know...
You sure it's $4 million? It was much more. You sure it's 4? I'm not sure it's 4 now. I think it's much more.
Okay, in all fair, I don't know.
Yeah, man, that's a man. Yes.
I don't know what the total value of the sign was.
Yes.
All I'm saying is that when we look at the different areas and, you know, places like St. James, which have the hills, you know, we have the spine of hills running down the island, which supports all of our livelihoods. The issue can be what priority is, because many of the things that we invest in can be greater than sustaining our own existence, which is what the environment does, right?
And I agree with you on that part, but I can tell you when it comes to dollars and figures, you hear, boy, a lot of this have to cut. We have to, there's this sense, you know, and I can hear it with development. Boy, we have to develop, you know? The environment there's man, but we have to develop to make money for the people.
So why we not translate these treasures into economic wealth? Like you look at many of them, Reggae Falls, for example, 20 years ago wasn't an economic source. No, it is. Dunn's River is an economic source. Green Grotto is an economic source, and these are environmental treasures. But that's just scratching the surface of all these others that are sitting out there, not really generating any economic activity to sustain themselves and more.
Right, and there is something that I should mention that we environmentalists have to get beaten on. So, for example, when you're doing a business, as what you said, the value of it, we need to speak the financial language. So you mentioned a while ago with some of these resources, we need to put a dollar figure on the value of what it is. Some of my colleagues might have a problem with that. But I find we have a big problem because when you come back, when we're having this discussion now, and you said we find this waterfalls and that, it have a big potential for making revenue for the country. are to help in that local community and that. But sometimes we don't have the dollar figures, and that's why I think sometimes in the environmental fraternity we need people with experience who deal with finances to convert the environmental language into finances, and I think that's a problem, and that we always have that problem. So I mean, for example, I love look at my birds, run on my crocodile, and look at that. But you need that to be transformed into money. So, for example, when we are talking cockpit country, what's the value of cockpit country? What's the value of losing it? And then when you see what that value, I can tell you, it scares people and they understand. But it's not the solution for everything. But I think sometimes that's missing.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about community. And so you come from country, as we would say, and there seems to be some kind of mix in the appreciation of the environment, depending on where on the island you are and how you see a treasure. So a man from town would not necessarily appreciate the value of a waterfall as much, or vice versa. Who knows, right? But is community leadership getting it, and is community leadership involved in some of these things? Are people protecting the mangroves and the crocodiles and the iguanas at a community level?
Well, all right. I can give an example of a community, Bowden, in Portland, and it's the Bowden Pen farmers. And the reason why I normally talk about them a lot, they had this project where they had this like a community bed for breakfast that has an ambassador bed. And what happened is you had the community members who came up, who run those farmers, not educated as that, way up in the Rio Grande Valley, as we call bush. And they understand the value of the product they have in terms of doing stuff to protect the trails, make proper trail, remove the tree, some of the shrubs growing up, make sure the trail is safe for people. They would go up every Saturday, Sunday as a group, meet up there, fix the building. They cook, they grow the food. They make the nice guava juice. They make the guys dukuno, or blue jars, as some people know. And they had their own leadership who would, up there you have the giant swallowtail butterfly. Before, people used to come up there and poach it. Now, as somebody come up there with a insect net, they would call the authorities. They would inquire what the people are doing. They know the value of the butterfly. They know the value of the plants. They know the value of people coming looking at the traditional way, how they normally hunt the wild pig, how they cook it, how you go and get the shrimp, what we call janga from the river. They are also the one who police the water source and tell people don't throw chemical. Because some of the younger guys thinking about making a one day, so they throw chemicals in the river and pick up the crayfish. But why they do that, you kill off everything. And they would do all of the police. So they understand the value of their environment and they have a product. And it works.
Right.
Now you have other communities who do it. And the thing with it is, when people, they understand that when people come up there, money circulates. Because when you go up there, you're going to buy 2 red stripe beer.
Right.
And that provide money for the community. So they understand the value of what they have.
All right, listen, the clock is running and we're going to have to kind of chip out. But there are a few pictures I want to share. Tell us a little bit about some of these spaces.
All right, so that now is, I took that picture in a sinkhole in what they call River Sink Cave in Ultra Spring. That is in the cockpit country, Trelawney. Now, you see where I stand in there? I had to go down, climb down, about 30 meters. I think between 30 to 50 meters on a hillside and go there. And it is beautiful. People go down there, go swim. So that's one of the hidden treasures in the cockpit country. And when we're talking about activities in cockpit, there are a lot of places like this where it is a hidden secret.
Right. All right. This one.
Well, I was just showing people bromeliad growing on a light wire. They call them hero works. Meaning all this do is attached to the electric wire and it just grow. So it take all the nutrients from the environment and it grow, and there it was flowering. And I think that species is endemic to Jamaica, meaning found nowhere else in the world. So
All
that's
right.
another thing.
All right.
Right. That's what I was talking about with the maroons. Me I try to remember what that we call it sea bean or that. So basically, just remember the maroons use a lot of that in their cuisine. And they used to cook with it. Because remember when the maroons were active, there was no ackee, there was no mango, there was no breadfruit. Most of the food that we see here, Captain Blight never bring it. So they had to eat a lot of this. And the interesting thing, if you just eat it like that, it kind of poisonous. So what them do? Them roast it, and then they put it in a bag and have it down at the river and wash it off about 7 days, and they cook it good with salt. It make a nice rundown. So when they go there, it was the Moortown Maroons who who did that for me, and a lot of Jamaicans don't know anything, not even know it tastes. And Moortown is where Nanny was buried, if people are asking. So that's another hidden treasures up there.
Well, there we go. But everybody know KFC.
Oh yeah, oh yes, man. Everybody know KFC, man. What do call it? Kingston Fall Club.
Hey, listen. Man, we could go on forever about some of these treasures. This was very, very enlightening, very, very academic, intellectual, economic, cultural, social. Awesome. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing this with us on Gwaan. And keep up the good work. I think it's really important what you're doing. And hopefully, some more dollars get behind the movements so we can see more coming out of you and your colleagues in the environmental space.
Thanks, Donovan. And I want your audience to understand, when you come to Jamaica, just don't go down, only go up on the hotels and the beach and the all-inclusive. Take time to go out in the rural areas, man, and see some of this treasure. Have a rich tribe, have a chat, enjoy some of the local food, and trust me, you have a good time.
I hear you, brother. Well, thanks. Take care, and we'll talk another time, eh?
All right, thanks again, guys, and thanks for having me. And see me have my shirt, Save the Crocodile. Yeah, man. Anytime to save the animals, I always have a shirt or something for it. So I wear this, So that was for the program, We love the crocodile too, They might not cuddly, but we love them the same way.
True. All right, take care.
All right, Donovan.
What an awesome discussion as we look at some of the hidden environmental treasures in Jamaica. Lots to learn. We'll soon come back and talk to Nicole here in a minute. Nicole, wow.
Very, very, very good conversation. But there's something there, that last something that we ain't sure. That's something that look like something where when as picnic a country, we used to call it donkey eye. Don't ask why. It look like it, but I don't know. I've never seen it.
I don't know about the donkey's eyes, Nicole.
Well, yes.
What I also did know was Kingston Folk Up.
Oh yeah, we know that one day. Yeah, we know that one day. But that very good conversation. And I always say it, and a lot of time when I talk, I always say when I was a child, because we become so westernized. When him talk about the chocolate, when him said, "Mr. Sir, you miss out a very key step. You cut it and you suck off your white stuff, then you dry the chocolate. Yeah, you suck off the seed."
Yeah, lots of interesting comments as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so speaking about proposed shipping port that was scheduled at Goat Island. Oh, what? Yeah, I think that one was squashed because the same environment thing. Because them they say how the people did plan to do it, that it couldn't work. Because you're bringing ship on, so you have chemical. have several programs, hiking and camping in Jamaica has increased. Yes, a lot of people are commenting on the conversation, but really good information, and it's so nice to see some of those things. Many of us do not know the lovely island that is so true. We call Jamaica very pretty, as I say. When you sometimes you left and when you go back, that's how you know why you cover your face. Them ladies probably didn't look like Zutupek. Okay, people are coming from there.
What all kind of comments, but great conversation. It's great
Yeah.
to get into the reasoning with some of these folks and hear the different views, and we definitely want to keep it going. So yeah, that was my reasoning for this week,
Yeah,
and
good reasoning,
we
man.
learn a
Good
few
reasoning.
things, right?
Yeah.
So, well, we talk again.
Yes, man. Cool. All right. So I hope everybody was tuned in and learned some good information. It's nice to hear, you know, often that like when you as Jamaicans we don't know about what we have. Other people come Jamaica and explore the island. We just know we got Duns River and as him says it stop right there or we go up on the north coast, but we not get to go in at the little nook and the crannies, and find those good hidden treasures. So thanks Damien for coming in. And how many of you did know that KFC called Kingston Folk Cove? If you never know that before, you don't know that now. Um, so good conversation, good hearing about Jamaica's hidden treasure. And thanks for those who are commenting and asking the different questions. But I think it was Sharon who asked about the port, but then I think that was some environmental issues, Sharon. So I think that one was squashed because there was a huge uproar. A couple years, that's probably more than some 10 years ago now. That conversation was going strong. So that one was squashed. I don't think they're looking into that anymore. But who knows? Things and time change and move forward. So hopefully if it is going to, as Damien said, ruin the environment, that we don't do something that is going to ruin it. Because I hear that Goat Island, the ecosystem out there is very interesting and you don't want to do anything to disrupt that. Yeah. Thanks, Karim. Karim says this was a very informative session. So remember, Karim, the next time you go Jamaica, find some of those little hidden treasures. If you can't swim, make sure you go with a good swimmer. Normally, those little rural area people, them good swimmers. So don't go and try swimming at some of them water there, because it can be very dangerous, especially river water. Thanks, Susan. She says, excellent. Thank you. So for next week's show, before the show, I forget to ask you to remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And all of those are at Gwaan. Visit also the website at www.watagwan.com. So you can also send us a message or message us on any of our social pages. We're also on LinkedIn. Forget to mention that. So encourage people to follow us, like us. We want to improve the visibility. So the more people like and the more people follow, the more watch you get is the more visibility we get, especially when it comes to YouTube. So remember, get everybody to go on over and like us, our pages. Remember again to join us next week as we talk about Jamaican Easter traditions. So come prepared to join in the conversation. Make sure you're commenting, to keep it interactive and, keep the communication, the conversation going in the chat on Facebook and on YouTube. So we will be talking to Reverend Marlene Henry, and we're going to be looking at Jamaican Easter traditions. Are we still having those? What is happening? Do we still have any tradition? Or are we, we dash them just like how we've been, like just like how we dash a lot of things. So join us next week again. Come with your teas close to Easter. So nice if you get some sprat, fry some sprat and get some bread and join the reason as we talk to Reverend Marlene Henry. Again, remember to follow us and like us on our different social media pages. There was a competition that was going on a few weeks ago for this upcoming events with MBR, Natasha Russell, Communicate with Confidence training program that begins on April 6th. So there is a prize that is a 4 weeks virtual group coaching for $297. So you folks were encouraged to like and share, and some of you did that, and we have 3 winners. So we have Audrey Campbell, Vance Golden South, and Angel Brooks. Yeah, you know. Yeah, so congratulations to our 3 winners. You can contact us to see how you your prizes will be given. So again, we just want to say thank you for another week. Thank you for staying with us. Stick and stay, because the only way to know what's going on is to join What a Gwaan. And it happens every Friday at 7 p.m. Calgary time. If you're in Montreal or Toronto, that side, the eastern side, that's at 9 o'clock. It's a little late, but hey, you can stay up just to hear what is going on in Canada and Dungayard. So join us again for next week for another episode of What a Gwaan. And again, just to leave you with, the patois word of the day is Zutupek. So practice it, go about. Maybe don't call somebody Zutubek, but hey, practice some sentence with the word, all right? Thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining us. Again, my name is Nicole, and this was What a Gwaan. All right, see you next week for another episode. Have a good